Finding the truth about the ultimate sacrifice. Our next guest would not take no for an answer when the military refused to give her details about the death of her husband overseas. Instead, she took matters into her own hands to learn the truth. Michelle Black is the author of Sacrifice, and she joins us now. Michelle, great of you to be here ahead of this Memorial Day. Tell us about this fight and this journey for you after losing your husband.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's been a real challenge, just trying to seek the truth and just being told inconsistencies and lies by AFRICOM. I felt I had no other choice than to really investigate it for myself. So in my book, I was able to line out a detailed timeline of events of what actually happened on the ground during the Niger ambush in 2017, which took my husband's life.
How did you, Michelle, how did you, so as you pointed out, your husband, Brian Black, was a Green Beret and was killed in that country back in 2017. How did you go about getting answers? And do you think that the military just needs to be more transparent to widows, widowers, and families?
Yes, I'm absolutely. You know, in this case, it was very clear, I think obvious to everybody who watched how it unfolded. It was a very public thing. The investigation was all over the news, and there was even a media brief after AFRICOM released the details of what happened. But what was interesting is when I spoke to the men on the ground, the details didn't match up. And major things, like I was told that Captain Perezzini stopped his truck so he could get out and do a bold flanking maneuver when shots rang out. And what ended up happening as I went through, I interviewed each surviving team member one at a time on their own, and I began to find out details about how the Nigerians who were ahead of them in the convoy actually freaked out when the shots first started flying, and they actually backed into the American vehicles and caused a collision. And the more I began to speak to the survivors of the ambush, people who were back at headquarters directing phone calls back and forth to the guys on the ground during the 3-day mission, I got an entirely different story than what I was told by military officials. And it came down to there were a couple of careers that were being protected over telling the families the truth.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday edition of Homefront Sitrep. I hope everybody's weekend was good and everybody's last week was great. How was your weekend?
It was fantastic.
Might help talk in the mic.
It was fantastic. I'm loud. People can hear me.
Yeah, your mom and your daughter came down today.
Yesterday. So my mom, my daughter, their good friend, the dog, my daddy, my aunt, my cousin.
Dang, you had the whole shebang.
I know. We had a big cookout yesterday, and everybody hung out and had a great time for hours. And so Mom, Becca, and friends stayed overnight. We woke up and did a big brunch, and they just left like an hour and a half ago.
Nice.
So,
yeah, yesterday I worked for, I don't know, a few hours yesterday, and then we went to a wedding of Ashley, which we watched her grow up from a little girl to now getting married, and she has a baby, and it was a beautiful day. I mean, because the last few days in Kentucky it's been rainy, and it just like the weather stopped just in time for her to have a wedding, an outdoor wedding too.
It was gorgeous.
Oh, it was a beautiful wedding. I mean, it was friggin' amazing. It was like the man upstairs, like, all right, she's having an outdoor wedding, let's make it perfect for her. And it was just beautiful. And the ceremony was just, and it was okay. So I've been to several weddings. My wedding, was really long. We had a Catholic wedding, so it was stupid long, right?
Sorry.
And they did their vows in private.
No.
So when we got there for the wedding, we were out there, everybody walked down the aisle, and the pastor, the preacher was saying, all right, so they did their vows in private. So they did the ring ceremony, and then he said, now I pronounce you man and wife, and that was the wedding. It was,
how sweet is that?
dude,
though?
it was done.
I've never heard of people doing their vows in private. Like, that's actually really sweet. I love it.
Oh, it was awesome. Mr. Tag Cobb, what's up, my brother? How are you, sir?
Hi, Todd.
But other than that, I mean, last week was all right. The weather, I play in the dirt all day long, so the weather was not cooperating. The weekend, beautiful weekend. The wife and I, we got up this morning with the kids and we went to church.
I know I totally missed church today. I felt bad, but I had my daughter.
It was an amazing service this morning. The message just was like, okay, I get it. It was just like, and so many people were crying just because of the message. I mean, it was, oh God, I tell you, it was one of those messages that would bring a tear to you. I mean, my wife was sitting there bawling her eyes out, and there was a couple in front of us, and I seen her wiping her eyes, and I'm like, I tapped my wife and said, hey, give her a tissue, because my wife's got a package. She's got a package of them. So I was like, give her some tissues. And the lady was very appreciative that my wife and I did that for her. But no, it was just, it's been a beautiful weekend. I'm ready to get today's episode going because we have a great guest. I know I've posted everywhere, but Michelle Black, a Gold Star widow, author. She's also the founder of the Soldiers Alliance Foundation. This lady here, her family has paid the ultimate sacrifice. As veterans, we sign our name on that dotted line. Well, families also sign their name on that dotted line as well. And unfortunately, her husband paid the ultimate sacrifice. So let's bring Michelle up on the stage and say hello. Welcome, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, thank you for coming on and spending the next couple hours with us talking about you and the sacrifice that your family has had to endure over the last few years. So thank you for sharing your story with us.
You're very welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Well, do me a favor, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your story, a little bit.
Yeah, so I was raised in California, and I actually met my husband, Brian, there. We were at a ski resort in our 20s and ended up getting married not long after that, and started our family, had 2 boys, and oddly enough, Brian hadn't joined the military yet. He joined the military a couple years in. So I think it was 2009 when he finally signed. We got married in 2005, so it was 2009 he signed up. And initially, he just went in as a regular medic into the Army and was, we were stationed in Fort Carson, and he was working at a CASH, Combat Support Hospital. And within a few months, he decided he wanted to be a Green Beret. And long story short, we ended up in Fayetteville, North Carolina at 3rd Group. And in 2017, he was one of 4 Americans killed when his team was ambushed outside of the village of Tongo in Niger, Africa. So, and that started this whole mess where, I don't know how much you want me to go into right this second, or.
Well, yeah, let's dive back into. So when he decided to join the military, you guys were already married. And then he decided to join the military. What was that conversation like between you and him? Did you already have children at the time that he decided to join the military? And how was that conversation? How did that go?
Yeah, so we had 2 kids, and in 2008, the economy crashed, and we were just a young couple, 2 kids, and I mean, we were struggling financially, and Brian had always wanted to be in the military. His dad had been a Marine officer, and Brian always wanted to go in and just enlist, even though he had a degree. He didn't want to do the whole officer thing. He wanted to enlist and do, he wanted to be a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret. So he talked about that forever. So when the economy crashed and we were just kind of struggling, he goes, hey, what if I just join the military? And so the initial conversation was just like, yeah, let's give it a try. 4 years, no big deal. Like, you try it, and we'll just kind of reassess in 4 years, see how this goes. I had never been around the military. I grew up, everybody in my family, they were small businessmen. So I didn't know anything about the military. So for me, it was just kind of a fun thing to try out,
Yeah. So Rich LaMonica says, hello, Michelle.
Oh, hi, Rich.
Rich, thanks for jumping on, my brother. Thank you. We also have Martin Ty Cobb. He's with Triple Threat Vets podcast out of Texas.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough when I joined the military straight out of high school. So I didn't have a wife and I didn't have kids at home. I know that thought process would probably be a lot different because there's a lot of moving factors, being married and having kids. So he did his, he didn't want to go the officer route, which a lot of us don't want to go the officer route, especially if we're signing our name on that dotted line, because we want to be, we want to be in the stink of things. I guess that's the proper way of putting it.
Definitely a Marine thing too.
Yeah, but her husband was Army, so
right,
it's we're a different breed when we decide that we want to be in the stink of things, like Ty Cobb and Rich LaMonica and her husband. Like the recruiter asked me, I scored high enough on my ASVAB that I could have done any job in the Marine Corps that I wanted.
Right.
And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to be infantry. I want to be the best of the best. And of course, back in the early 90s, that was what was explained, was the Marine Corps was the best. If you go in the Marine Corps, you want to be the backbone of the Marine Corps, and that's infantry. So I told everybody, I'm going Marines, I'm going infantry. And, I did my 6 years, and
you want your feet on the ground. What do they call it? Like you
ground pounders. Yeah, ground pounders. Hey, Rich, how are you, brother? So the book, let's go into the book a little bit here. I'm going to see if I can put it up here. You can order her book. I believe it's on Amazon, and you can go to her website and order it too, which is michelleblacksacrifice.com.
Can I ask real quick, because ordering that, what's the difference between the first and the second edition?
Honestly, it's just the cover. I have the second one here. We just initially, to be honest, when you publish with Penguin Random House, it's a big publisher. Initially, they wanted to, they have their way that they think is going to sell it best. And when I looked at the cover, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Personally, I wasn't ecstatic. I thought it was beautiful, but I thought as far as the target audience, I didn't see the appeal.
Right.
And so, but we tried it, and in the end, I was like, this is really what I would like. And so they agreed when we put out the paperback to try what I wanted, which was great.
Cool. Okay. I was just curious about that because when I got on there to order it, I was like, ooh, what's the difference? I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she when we had talked beforehand, she had said that there was no difference other than the cover, the cover work, because she wasn't happy per se with this cover here. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not a bad cover by any means, but I can understand where you're saying your target audience. How do they relate to that? Because I know when I first looked at it and saw the family sitting there with getting the flag, I'm like, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna read this book. And like I told you earlier, it's been a struggle for me, just because I've had so many friends that lost their lives overseas and stuff, and don't know if I ever fully got the true story. And that's kind of where this book comes into play. So let's dive into that a little bit. Here you are at home, and like you say in the book, before he left, the day he was leaving, you felt something was off. Whether that would be a premonition or just gut instinct, or people might think you were, being using your imagination too much. Walk us through kind of the timeline of, him leaving and you getting, the people coming to your door, knocking on your door. How just go into however you want to go into about that.
Yeah, so it was a total of about 5 weeks that he was gone before the incident occurred. And so he left, I believe it was August 26th. Ironically, it was like a few days after the last eclipse we had in 2017. And so I took him to the airport, the Fayetteville Regional Airport, and something felt off. He deployed, several times, and, he's always gone on training missions, and then it was never like a big thing. I'd never had the nerves that a lot of people talk about, where you worry all the time. And maybe it's because I'm just not a worrier, or maybe it's because I have a kid on the spectrum and life is so chaotic. I didn't have time to think about it. But I never really took that into play, that he was at risk. And for some reason that time when I dropped him off the airport, I just had this overwhelming sense of dread, and I didn't want him to leave. And he almost seemed like he was feeling the same thing, and he's going, it's okay, we'll be back soon, I'll call you when I get there. And so I thought, okay, whatever. But as I was pulling away from the airport, it just was still there. Like, I remember actually crying because I was so nervous, and that's not like me. So I got home, and over the course of the next 5 weeks, I mean, every time I'm looking, I kept going over to my window that looks out over our front driveway, and I just felt like I was always looking for men in uniform, which seemed so odd. And I didn't discuss this in the book, but one really eerie thing happened. I went to put the kids to bed one night, and my youngest son is a lot like me, where he'll get these premonitions and whatever. And he goes, Dad's not coming. He's only 9. Dad's not coming home this time, is he? And I freaked out, and I just went, no, of course he's coming home. We just need to pray and he'll be fine. And it must have been a week later when I had reached a point where I was not going to talk to his mom or call her anymore. And she and I are good friends. And I thought, I'm not going to reach out to her until after I've heard from him, because I'm going to slip up and say something. And so I was thinking that night, and my phone rang, and it was her. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, I got to answer that. So I answered it. And the first words out of her mouth were, did you see the news flash that came across did it come across your phone? And I said, no, what's that? And she said, oh, a team was just ambushed up near the Mali border.
Mm.
And she said it was a special forces team. And I said, that was Brian. That's Brian's group. And I can't remember if I'd have to look in the book or look at my notes, but I know I at least thought Brian's dead, but I think I actually said it.
Mm.
And she goes, we don't know that yet. We don't know this. And I was like, okay, yes, we don't know this. Unfortunately, my kids were already asleep, so they weren't at play in any of this. But after that, it was just me scrambling, calling everybody I could, looking everywhere I could to try and find any information. And what I kept getting back to is no one's talking to me. And when I contacted the wives, they'd all heard from their husbands.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's, oh my Lord. Yeah, that right there. I mean, that's, you had the feeling beforehand, before you left. And then for your son to come, to you about a week beforehand. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine, like, I can imagine like the feeling, because like I've had that feeling in several instances in my life before things happen. I'm like, something's going to happen. And I've talked about my first wife when I was in the Marine Corps. I got married very young. Well, I was gone for 30 days and came back home, and I pulled down the road and I got that gut feeling something wasn't right. Well, needless to say, I caught her in bed with another guy. So I understand the feeling. And unfortunately, in your situation, he still had to leave. There was nothing that you could do to keep him there other than him going AWOL and, getting in trouble that way. But just for you having that feeling, and then, 4 weeks later, your son coming up to you, who's 9, says, well, Daddy's not coming home. I can't even fathom how you were feeling at that time. God, yeah. And like I said, I've tried to read the book. I'm still reading it as I'm going, and it's a really great read, but it's hard to read too, from my aspect, from my because I've kind of lived some of that with friends, not somebody that I was married to or anything like that, but some of my brothers and sisters that didn't make it home from certain situations. And man, I tell you what, yeah. So tell us a little bit more about after they came, knocked on your door and told you that your husband had paid the ultimate sacrifice.
So how long did that take? Like, from you getting that news, when were they at your door?
So because everything kind of broke in the news so quick, they were there. I think Karen must have called me around, well, I put the kids to bed typically around 7. So that must have been, the phone call must have been around 8. And they were at my door by 9:30.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because it was catching like wildfire. It was just, yeah. So, in fact, the bodies were flown back so quick to Dover that I didn't even get a chance to see them, because I hadn't even told my kids yet. So the bodies were back by noon the next day, which isn't typical.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, you told me when we were talking offline during our meet and greet that how did your kids find out that their dad had paid the ultimate sacrifice?
So they woke up the next morning. They didn't know anything, and so honestly, I sent them to school. I didn't want to tell them alone, and I didn't want to tell them at the house. I didn't think either of those things were appropriate. So I took them to school, and I told the school what was going on, because by then, Fort Bragg, if Green Berets from 3rd Group are killed, the entire town knows, straight away. So I told them the incident that happened last night was my husband, and I want you to keep the kids in the dark. collect all their things, and they aren't coming back. I'll pick them up after school, and then they'll be gone for a month or two. And so his dad, Brian's dad, he was working out of DC at the time. So he was the first one to arrive. And I told him, we're going to be the ones to tell my kids. I just need your help because there's 2 kids and I need 2 of us. So we drove them out to a park in the middle of the woods and told them there.
I can only imagine how your children took it. I do. You did say that one of your kids is on the spectrum, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So you and his dad take him out to the park, and you told him how did. I already know the answer. How did the children take the news, especially the 9-year-old that already said Daddy wasn't coming home? How did they take the news?
The 9-year-old asked us if he was only partway dead and if he could come back. Sorry.
No, you're good. And if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. We can move on.
Yeah, my oldest was okay. Not good, but okay. Most of their questions were about who would teach them everything now. And the 9-year-old ran away. So that was hard.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. And we're going to move on to a different subject because I know this is getting a little deep and a little personal. And I want to move on to something a little bit not as traumatizing.
That's good. Was the only one that was lost in that?
No, there was 4.
4 were lost.
Yeah, there were 4. So there was Jeremiah Johnson, and he was just, I think, a year or 2 older than Brian. So he had 2 girls, and they were teenagers at the time. And then there was LaDavid Johnson, and he was young. I think he was 25, and he and his wife was pregnant, and they had 2 little ones. I want to say they were 3 and 5. And then maybe younger. And then there was Dustin Wright, and he was not married, no kids. So
that's crazy. So when did you think or feel that you weren't getting the full story from the military about what truly happened?
It's hard to say when it really started. I think one of the biggest things that threw me off was, we had the 3rd group commander who was, I think he was based out of Germany at the time of the incident. And then the 2nd battalion commander who was based out of, I want to say, Chad. And we never saw the battalion commander, but we saw the group commander. He would come to my home all the time, and I kind of got to know him and his wife. And he had told me it was just a routine patrol, blah, 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 blah. Well, we started learning more, and he had told me a few things, and that he didn't know they were going to have to, figure it out as time went by, because, he basically told me he didn't really know they were going to have to run an investigation before he knew any more or had any more information on what exactly happened. And then I read a news article sometime, I want to say, so the incident happened in October, and I think it was May. No, it would have been March. There was an article that came out saying that the group commander was involved in video teleconferences and planning the mission. So I thought, well, if he was involved in planning the mission and was planning the mission, the extended portions of the mission, because it was 3-part, then surely he knows more than it was just a routine patrol, and he won't know more until there's further investigation. I mean, he was involved in the video teleconferences.
Right.
When he was coming to my home and lying to my face, and he could have just said, we're not authorized to give you more information, but we look forward to giving you more when we can. But instead, he just lied.
Right.
And at that point, I knew something was going on, and all I could do was like, well, hopefully this will come out. And then when we were briefed, I was like, oh no, they're just going to lie to us.
And so you started once you figured out that you weren't getting the right story, the full story. What was the determining factor of you trying to dive into finding out the truth? A lot of people out there would just, I don't want to say like wallow in their grief, but a lot of people would go into that mourning stage and leave it there. And then, but you being a strong woman, it seems like that you wanted to get to the bottom of the truth. Tell us how that process went, if you don't mind.
I think for me, typically I have a pretty long fuse and I'm pretty even keeled. And I think for me, you don't get to, I understand men go into service, right? And I think maybe it's because I was raised outside the military. I'd never experienced the military. And Brian only served a few years. And so to me, this wasn't going to be our whole lives. This was a portion of our lives. And Brian was talking about getting out in a year or two. So he would have totally altogether served maybe 10 years of our lives, of his life. And so for me, I was like, I get that he signs up for the military and it may cost him his life. But his life is not worthless, and there's so much more to it. And so you don't then get to tell me that your career is more important than the truth of how he lost his life, or more important than his life.
Right.
So you don't have a right to then turn around and lie to me just so you can salvage your career. That's not acceptable. So I think for me, with them just continuing to act like they were just going to pacify me by hanging somebody else out to dry, they're scapegoating somebody. I was like, I'm not interested in being pacified, and I am not interested in somebody else suffering. There's been enough suffering. I didn't want anybody to lose their career, including these officers. What I wanted was for them to just say, this is what actually happened, lessons learned. But the minute you lie to me on that level shows a complete disregard for my husband's life, and it shows a complete lack of respect for me as a human being and him. And I'm not going to put up with that. And I don't know if that's because I'm built different or I just snapped. I don't know. All I know is seeing them think that the officers were worth more than we were is not ever going to, I'm never going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think that flies. I mean, for one, yes, officers are important, but it's the enlisted that make up the backbone of the military. And I'm kind of like you, and my wife is very similar to you as well, where if somebody lies to me or my wife, we're going to get to the bottom of it regardless. And that's like my 15-year-old had a friend over one night, and the wife and I were already in bed, and her 15-year-old friend decided to get the bottle of Bacardi out of the pantry at the top, and they snuck it upstairs with some apple juice, and they were drinking it. And Well, when they got done drinking it, they put it back up in the pantry, but the bottle was tilted to the side, so we noticed it right away. So we asked my daughter, and she kind of at first was lying about it, and then we were like, look, we done caught you. You're caught. So she came out and told the story. It's just if you lie to me, I'm like you. If you lie, I'm gonna get to the bottom of the story, because if things don't add up, I'm gonna get to the bottom of the story. But in your situation here is I don't not even senior enlisted like leadership. It was the officers that were, that came to you and basically lied to your face and didn't tell you the full story.
Just how demeaning that is.
It's very demeaning.
Like, Brian deserved to be honored and respected, and it's like it's one of those, like, it don't make sense. So somebody needs to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Like those puzzle pieces just aren't fitting together.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was for me. It was such a massive lack of respect. And I thought, and if they're doing this to me, how many other times have they done it? It's not acceptable. And then also to look at the men who had come back and see how much pain they were in and how much grief they were going through. And then they were just going to, they couldn't do anything to stop it, right? They were just going to get hammered and lose their careers. And for me, I thought, at the very least, like, I can't bring Brian back. I can't do anything to change that, but I can stop this. So that is something I can do. And so that was something that I still had power over. And I knew that nobody in the command could stop that or could stop me, because I was the only one who had the power to stop it. The guys on the team they couldn't stand up for themselves. So for me, it was kind of like, this is the little bit of power I have left. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make sure that these men who are lying and, scapegoating these guys, that the truth comes back on them.
Right. That's not okay. Like, whether you're trying to save their career or not, the fact that they're lying and, to the widows and anybody else to save their job, like, do they deserve to continue to be in that position? Like, you don't want anybody to lose their job, but that's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's not some piddly little accident that happened and nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
So during the process of writing the book, you interviewed several of the survivors. How was that process for you, and then also for them? Because I do know that some of the survivors didn't want to talk, and then some you didn't put in you changed their names because they were still currently active at the time when you were talking to them. What was that process like for you and for them?
It was hard. I think all but 2 of the surviving members talked to me, so most. And I had them come over one at a time and would speak with them. And it was 2 things. It was cathartic, but it was extremely painful. Because for them, I don't think these men are used to talking about it, period. Talking about it with the widows, because they feel so much guilt, survivor's guilt, all these things that I don't think they should feel at all. Because as I told them, this is how Brian would have wanted it, just as they want it, right? They would have wanted to die in place of Brian. Mm-hmm. But Brian got there first, because that's how they are.
Right.
Brian was able to die for them, and he would have been so glad to know they made it home to their kids. So it was very, very hard. There were times that, I've got these 6'2" Green Berets just bawling.
Right.
And you hate to say that, but that's when they have been through something like that and they've never shared it with anybody before. It was hard. It was hard for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guarantee it was. And you hit it on the head. Your husband did what he signed his name, on that dotted line. He made the ultimate sacrifice so his brothers that he served with could have the chance of making it home. And I can see their side of the story too, when with the survivor's remorse like that, because I know there was, for me, some of the situations, some of the guys didn't make it home and some of us did. And it was just like, why did I make it home and not them? And I understand that as well as too. And it's one of those sticky situations, and, I've been out of the military since 2004 and I still have my demons. And I'm just now going through the VA, getting help through the VA and stuff like that. And, so far the journey there, it's been pretty good. There's been a couple little hiccups that probably wasn't a major hiccup, but for me it was a major hiccup. It's just like, when they call you and like, hey, I want to change your appointment, I'm like, no, I want to keep it what it's already scheduled to, because that's what I got allotted, for my time frame. And man, this is a hard one. So the last time we spoke, you were talking about starting a foundation. And I can see that there's already a website for it. And tell us a little bit about your foundation and your inspiration for it.
So it's called Soldiers Alliance Foundation. The actual inspiration is the book. So there a lot. Well, it's a lot of the things that I've experienced the last year or the last 5 years, and also just what the men were put through. So I thought, from the beginning, I would like to see the way military investigations are conducted. I'd like to see that changed so that commands can no longer investigate themselves. It's ridiculous. I mean, essentially, SOC Africa opened up an investigation, and that's a 3-star command. And AFRICOM came in, 4-star command, and instantly shut it down, started an investigation, and the 4-star general then appointed the investigating officer to conduct the investigation. So the IO was just chosen from within the ranks to run the investigation, and it was an informal investigation. So no real oversight there. It was really interesting, just learning all of this. And so I thought, we need to figure out a way to keep commands from investigating themselves. I mean, same thing with the Vanessa Guillen Act, stop commands from investigating sexual assaults. When they happen under their command. It's common sense stuff. So I thought, I'd love to start a nonprofit where we can work advocating to change some of these antiquated laws that negatively impact our soldiers on the ground, like our active duty men and women. And so I wanted to start with that. But also I thought, while we're at it, let's do a real nonprofit, because that takes more time than it does money, right? Because I can work on that stuff. I can advocate. All the money that's really going to go into that is me flying up to DC and doing my, making connections and talking to people and kind of working on that. But what I really want to do too is work on some things like, for instance, with my kids in the aftermath. I mean, it was a mess. The services were really not available. I mean, how do you take a kid who's had all of this trauma, and then on top of it, there was the video, right? So there was the headcam video that came out of the ISIS propaganda video of their dad dying, and now it's made into video games, and the kids run across it on social media all the time. And so that's something that they've had to learn to deal with. And so I thought, how is it that we don't have proper emotional support for these kids? There's no counseling that is automatically given to us through the military. And we were sent to the VA, and they didn't have time for us when that, headcam video came out. So they told me to come back later with my autistic son who had just seen it. So that was really interesting. So what I would like to do, what I ended up doing for my kids, is I just got them an emotional support animal. And so I thought, and that has made a world of difference. And I would like to start doing that. just have a nonprofit where we fund animals for these kids and start kind of making that our mission. Like, let's overall make our mission to be focused on emotional support for Gold Star families, particularly for the widows and the kids, because honestly, I feel like a lot of times the kids are forgotten.
Yeah.
Or it turns into, let's take you all on a lot of cool trips. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't need a trip. And it's not that I don't appreciate them. I love them. And a lot of them, it's like, this is a great vacation. It helps me unwind. But, I'm left alone to try and, foot the bill, like take care of my house and provide all the emotional support for these kids. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we want to look at with the nonprofit is how can we support these widows, whether it's through getting funds to help fix up their houses or, and then on top of it, one of our main programs we want to do right now is the emotional support animals for kids.
So really just finding that comfort that's so needed in grieving or processing and in your case with your kids, just rehashing that over and over again with society and social media and games and
and I think you hit it on pretty good on the head there when there's all these different veteran service organizations out there that focus just primarily on the veteran. They don't ever really focus on the families of the veteran, and we've talked about it on numerous shows that we've had and other podcasts that we've been on. How
found some lately, though.
Yeah, we have found quite a few lately.
Some awesome ones that were in families.
But that's something that's relatively more new because
Scarce.
Yeah, it's very scarce and it's scattered across the country.
Scarily scarce.
A lot of these veteran service organizations, like I said, they primarily focus on the veteran or the active duty member who's transitioning out. But your husband paid the ultimate sacrifice, and you being the strong woman that you are, you're like, hey, something needs to be done. Laws need to be changed. So you're going to DC. You're trying to lobby to get things changed so the investigation is done outside of the command that where the incident happened. You started a foundation that is going to focus on active duty military personnel, veterans, and Gold Star families. And I think that you're an inspiration to me. I want to say thank you for what you're doing for the families, because that's something that needs to be done. And I think you're the right person to take that step and focus your drive, your passion into that. And I think what you got, with the Soldiers Alliance Foundation is going to be amazing. And I'm going to support you any way I can. So yeah, I want to say thank you for that.
Yeah. And as much as we hate that was handed to you into your lap, like the appreciation of what you're doing and your end goal with this, it's I'm speechless through this whole thing. Like, and I knew that this was.
Here we got right here.
This is my daddy.
Crying in her presence is a result of bravery. They were able to curb their emotions during combat and needed that release. Thank you, ma'am, for giving them the opportunity to. That's exactly what many of our brave veterans need. Thank all of you guys for trying to provide that. I salute you.
My daddy's my veteran. He was in the army in Germany, and he's right. Like, you think about that and how hard that is for some of you guys to go and sit in front of a therapist or something, but having
it's hard.
Somebody, and especially somebody that is the wife of the person they were standing next to, I'm sure that makes it harder, but also having that connection with you and that knowing in their mind that Brian appreciated that. He probably, all of those men knew you needed that as well.
Yeah. And I think for them too, to like feel like they were absolved of guilt. Like I didn't blame or absolved of blame, because it was just, they'd apologize to me and I would tell them, you're not allowed to apologize to me.
Yeah.
That's not something that happens. Like I'm glad you're here.
Mhm.
And, I'm glad that I get to have this time with you, and that Brian, basically bought this relationship. So, they became like my sons or my brothers. It was funny, we still talk almost weekly,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm glad that, because no one could have stopped what happened, to be honest, except the people commanding the whole situation. But in the end, even they couldn't have foreseen that. I mean, that's what happens in war. So for me, it's more about having that opportunity to have those conversations with them and be able to say, this isn't your fault and I don't blame you. And
Mm.
yeah.
Now,
So
where are you based out of with the foundation where you're getting that started? Because you were talking about.
I'm in Washington State.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. You're far from DC.
Yeah.
very far.
So what is it that people can do to really like get their, I don't want to say get their hands in this, but to get involved and support, especially as far as, comforting these families and these children? Like, what is your biggest piece of advice to somebody out there that's like sitting here with goose pimples watching this and listening to this going, how do I help? How do we help these kids, and how do we help these wives and even mothers and fathers,
Yeah.
soldiers?
Well, with our foundation right now, we've got soldiersalliance.com is our website. And so you can go on there and check it out and see who sits on our board and all of that. I mean, this is brand new. We're just kind of getting going. I just went on my first DC trip.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. It was a big learning curve, but it was successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can go to Soldiers Alliance Foundation, and we've actually got some great people on our board, including a former USASOC general and all of that. So it's pretty
wonderful.
fun. So, and my in-laws. So, and then we'll also have, if you go to our website, you can also find our links to our Instagram, which I post on there pretty often.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of figuring out our Twitter. So, but yeah, you can, on our Instagram, I post some of the videos of what we're doing and pictures of what we're doing. So, yeah, just starting to try and raise funds and wrap our minds around how to attack this whole thing.
So really just trying to get those donations in to really like get the feet on the ground and go, all right, this is what we're doing. Like you have a great concept and you have a great drive of what you're doing and the things that you're trying to support. And I can't wait to see that flourish. And I can't wait until you have families that are getting these emotional supports and you're helping get some of these laws passed, and we're able to a year from now bring you back on here and talk about all these testimonials and these great things that are happening. Like I can't wait for that.
Definitely.
It's so important what you're doing on both ends, on the legal part of it and the back end of it, which is such an unfortunate need.
Yeah,
like it's one of those things that it's so bittersweet. It's wonderful that you're able to put your feet into this and get it going, but that horrible part of why is that needed? Like it's just
So I got a question. You want to provide emotional support animals for the children and the wives of the fallen. Have you partnered with somebody to get dogs trained and stuff of that nature?
Not yet. We've just started all of our research into that. So initially we started with, ironically, I should have started with that, but I thought, I'll start with the law stuff, because I know exactly what I want to do to change the law. So I did my trip to DC, and with that, I got such an overwhelming response from so many offices Even people who just saw I was out there then messaging me and saying, can we Zoom? Because I sit, in this office and work with this HASC member, and hey, can we do some stuff to help you find the right language? So I ended up having several offices reach out, and that just went so well that I thought, okay, well, if this is moving this quick, then I don't have as much time. So now I need to get on top of the emotional support animal program as well. So
Right.
Don't pressure yourself with that. Always remember, like, this is a big thing. Your advocacy alone is a big thing.
Yes.
And don't ever forget to step back and breathe. It's overwhelming. Starting any nonprofit, let me tell you, is crazy overwhelming. Like, you've been there, and you have to remember things don't happen overnight. And as excited as you get and all the great things that you want to do, it's like, you have to remember it's those baby steps. And sometimes they're steps backwards, and that's okay. And so, like, be excited about it and, like, get into it and talk to people, make the connections. Don't forget to breathe.
And a good thing about the whole dog side of things out there, there's a lot of organizations out there throughout the country that will train dogs for that purpose of being an emotional support animal. I know there's a lot of difference between the service animal that veterans and other people use compared to emotional support animals. Like, we got a Dogs Helping Heroes here in Kentucky is amazing.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, at what they do. That might be somebody you want to look into and see, partnership with them. And then in Arizona, there's a chapter of AT&T Veterans, which is a national 501c3. They have a service dog program as well. So there's a lot of them out there. You just have to Google service dogs. And what I would recommend is not going with the name brand ones, because they're so busy doing, like, we had one veteran that watches our show pretty religiously. He was trying to get a service dog through Canines for Warriors. Well, they told him that he couldn't get a service dog until 2025 because that's how booked out they were.
That was almost a year ago.
That was almost a year ago. Well, he already has a dog now. We got him lined up, and he already has a service dog now. So,
but the thing is, even with your name brand ones and even your grassroots ones, like, really good places to start are some of those organizations that are already established as far as service dogs, because they get these dogs and they try to train them, and it's an extensive training. But there are some dogs that don't pass to be a qualified service dog, but they're wonderful emotional support.
Yes.
And like, it's a great place to start, because then they're with this dog and they're like, oh, like, we got to figure out a home for it or adopt it out. And if they had an organization or something to work with, to go, hey, like, I got a family area.
That's actually who we were thinking, like, ideally we would look for, because that's the dog I ended up getting for my kids. He failed out of a seeing eye dog program, and they didn't know what to do with him. And I was like, well, how much of a price cut would you give me? And it ended up being ridiculous. So I was like, okay, well, at that price, I'll take him.
And even police programs.
Even
fell out of that too.
Yeah, even police programs. Or you can look for the retired service dogs. The ones that can no longer do their mission, so they retire them. A lot of times the veterans can't sustain the service dog once they retire, so they return the dog to the organization they got it from, and then they have to rehome them. So that might be another avenue as well. Because then you're getting an older dog that is going to be all about some loving and stuff like that. So they're going to need it, so that might be another avenue as well.
With that though, like, where are you trying to reach? Like, you're in Washington State, so I mean, are you trying to look nationwide if you find these families that need this, or like, are you trying to reach throughout the country? And
I would like to eventually. I think at first we're going to start small and then branch outwards, but I think initially we're going to start with KIA, because I think if we narrow our focus, it's going to be easier, and then we'll slowly build out. So we're going to start small and hopefully local, and then branch out as we can. Okay. So
awesome.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Now, is there a base close by you where you live?
There is. We have Joint Base Lewis McChord.
Okay.
So it's maybe 20 minutes from where I live. so not
Oh,
far.
okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
How are your kids now?
they're really good. They are now 16 and 17, and my oldest is actually he's like a straight A student, and he works at the local Safeway, and he's getting ready to graduate, and he wants to go in the Air Force.
Nice.
So yeah, and despite being on the spectrum, you can't tell anymore. He's just completely self-regulated now, and never hasn't had an issue since he was maybe in, I don't know, maybe right after Brian died, 13, 14. He just grew up quick, I think.
And still wants to serve.
Yeah. And then his younger brother is 16 and he's working on his license, and another straight A student, and he's wanting to become a doctor. So he's working towards that.
That's awesome.
And more importantly, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Really well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
It's a hard thing to, I'm not going to say get over. I don't think you would ever get over, ever. I don't think that grief goes away, but
No, it never does.
to come back from, to get back on your feet. Like that's tough.
Yeah.
Like,
The
That's right.
resilience is
yeah.
yeah.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's another one of those bittersweet things, but I think it's just beautiful what you're doing, and you've got support. I know, just being on here and the people that we know, we got plenty more that are going to support you, and
So what we need to do to help Miss Michelle
Yes.
out is we're going to start looking in. We'll reach into the service dog area here and say, hey, we got this lady in Washington State that is starting a program to give emotional support dogs to children of the fallen.
Yeah.
And what she's looking for are service dogs that fell out of the program or retired service dogs. We're gonna do that for you on our end here, because we know a lot. There's quite a few of them here in the state of Kentucky, and we're gonna start
surrounding though. I mean, we got a lot around us.
Yeah. So we're gonna reach out, and we're gonna help you complete your mission,
Absolutely.
and help you any way we can. So this has been one of those hard ones, and if I try to dive in too deep, I do apologize for that. That's why I kind of wanted to move on a little quickly earlier, because I did know that it was going to be one of those episodes that is going to tug at the heartstring, because it was already tugging at my heartstrings, and I'm like, how deep do I want to go into this? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that probably wanted me to go deeper into the whole thing.
Oh, we all want to,
but if you
there's also a respect thing. But go buy the book.
Yeah, if you want to get deeper into it, go read the book. Go buy it and read the story there. You'll get really deep in there. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it was hard. It's hard for me to read this book, but it's a really good read. Let's just put it that way so far. And I'm not a book reader.
He's horrible.
But
I think what people miss a lot of times too is they see the book and they think, and this is why I wanted them to remove that particular picture from the cover, is because I realized that that part is so hard, but that part only lasts a couple chapters. It's kind of like life, those things are only in there, like I think I only make you cry once or twice in the book, but it's a really hard cry. And then the rest of it is just like, hey, like this is what happened after this, and then you'll get mad. And then it's like, okay, now this is what the actual on the ground looks like. And I thought most of this book is about a fight and a battle, and it's me battling, the officers and almost the entire army at times.
Yeah.
And then it's the guys on the ground and their whole battle and what that looked like, because we were all lied to. And so to actually write a complete battle scene was a challenge for me. But I thought also this is so necessary for everybody to know the full truth of what actually happened. So the book is a war book.
So
but
you
it
believe
also,
at this point, like you have 100% the truth. You know now.
I think there's probably some pieces missing as far as how far up and who all was
Right.
covering different pieces, or covering up different things. But as far as what actually happened in those days leading up to and then during the attack, yes, absolutely.
So we had an episode not too long ago where we were talking about a veterans kind of coalition to lobby to change laws in DC. Um, and honestly, I don't know why we would try to reinvent the wheel when
right.
she's already doing that. So what we need to do as veterans, we need to support you in your mission to do that, because you're already in the process of doing that. Because there's a lot of things out there, you know, with the VA and the things the things that the government the annotated or antiquated, however you want to say it, the laws and stuff out there for veterans, because a lot of people feel that when we, the veteran, come home from whatever service that we did, we're forgotten about. And you know, with the VA, like I said, I'm just now going through the VA, and I've been out since 2004. Sometimes getting things done through the VA is terrible. So I think things that the VA need to change. I think their rules and regulations need to be updated to modern time. And then, like in your situation, you're going there to lobby to stop commands from investigating their own accidents or incidents, however you want to say. So I think we as veterans, we need to jump on board with you and help you carry on your mission in getting these laws and stuff changed in DC. So
I don't think it's so much reinventing the wheel. It's taking the wheels that we have and putting them together.
Yeah.
You take a unicycle and it's only so strong, but you know, you got an 18-wheeler, you got some power behind it.
Well,
so you take all of these people and all of us that are talking about the things that we want to do and accomplish, and you know, where you've got to step in that and had your hands in fighting that. And then those other ones that we know that have had their hands in fighting things, it's bringing everybody together and just going, you know what, we're not going to take it anymore. This is what we're going to do, and something has to change. So we have to start making those steps to make it happen. Yeah.
I mean, and then there's a lot of organizations out there that have veteran advocacy groups that go to DC and lobby for this and lobby for that. I think if we can all join together and have a kind of like a town hall, like a virtual town hall meeting, and, you know, have some people come in and be like the not I don't want to say spokesperson, but like somebody who can come in, like Don Bramer or Michelle, you know, come in and veterans come in and we're talking about things that need to be changed. So we can do this, and
this is what we need to do.
So I think what you're doing is amazing, and I'm going to support you any way I can. And in the words of my brother Al, what you're doing is phenomenal. I wish he was watching, because he's actually going through a hard time at the present moment in time. And Carol Lee, who's a mom of 2 Marines. But Al, he just lost a mentor, became one of the 22.
Oh wow.
So it's just one of those things. But no, I want to tell you that you're an inspiration to me. I'm going to help you in any way I can to help you carry out your mission. I'm going to reach out to Cassie and a few others that I know of and be like, hey, do you have service dogs that go through your program that fell out? What do you guys do with those dogs? And if they say, well, we try to rehome them, I'm going to say, all right, I know the perfect place to rehome them. And I'm going to get them in contact with you. That way we can get you some dogs out there to help you continue your mission. And then
so like the shame is with Cassie, like they do wonderful service animals, And you look at all of these organizations that have these crazy waiting lists, and it's times where like Cassie has dogs that she can't find a person for.
Right.
So they have to adopt them out or find a home for them. It's like they're on overload because they don't have enough veterans.
Well, we got a person that we can reach out to now. So, but Michelle, I want to say thank you for coming on here and hanging out. Do you have anything to say before we let you go? Because I know you got to go take care of the things around the house and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, my kids are trying to text me now. I'm like, boys, hold it together. No, I really appreciate you coming on and getting to discuss all of this. Especially, I appreciate being able to share what I'm doing now, because I think sometimes, even just be losing it and crying, we get so focused in on what happened and what's hard.
Yeah.
But most of life is so good that it's nice to move forward from that and remember that.
Yeah, definitely.
And
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's such a personal and sometimes private thing, but I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing with the Soldiers Alliance Foundation and how you took that negative that happened in your life and turned it into a positive, and what you're trying to do with your mission, with changing things in DC, and then also focusing on the family members of the fallen, of the ones that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm gonna keep using that word sacrifice because that's exactly what your husband paid, and you and your boys have paid since that day. And to see how resilient you and your two boys are, it's something that is very awe-inspiring. It's amazing. But thank you again. And if you need me anytime, you got my email, and I will shoot you my phone number as well. That way, if you need anything, we can keep in contact.
Oh, I have to ask. What was your emotional support animal?
Oh, he's a golden doodle.
Oh, that's so much fun. This goofy. Oh,
he is.
I love it. I had to know.
He's got some emotional needs himself. So
don't we all though? I think we all do. Well, thank you again. Go take care of your kiddos, because I know they're probably blowing you up right now. They're ready to get some food in their belly.
Well, they're teenage boys. They don't know how to do anything yet.
Oh no, I know. They don't do anything but eat. So,
well, like I said, thank you again. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Night. All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dude, how cool was that?
You made me cry.
Dude, I
cried.
Here I am, a big macho Marine, and
says who?
Says me. But literally, I don't know how many times my eyes were tearing up. I tried to rein it in.
I needed Julie's tissues down here.
I know, right? But no, just to hear her story, her fight to find the truth of what actually happened. God, man, I tell you what, it's
a big fight.
It is. Yeah, and it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be. Her husband, signed his name on the dotted line to serve his country, and unfortunately, he paid the ultimate sacrifice. And for them to lie to her, that was what was key. She said if they had come to me and said, hey, right now we can't tell you exactly what happened, but we will.
Right.
She said it wouldn't have been a big deal. But unfortunately, they lied to her because they were trying to cover up the truth. And being the strong woman that she is,
she still wasn't allowed to grieve.
No.
She wasn't even given that time.
No.
Like, not only is she having to take care of her two kids and figure that out, but she can't even grieve the loss of her husband because she's been lied to about it.
Yeah.
Like, and there's, oh gosh, well, she's turned that around too, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, with her Soldiers Alliance Foundation, which the website's right there, soldiersalliance.com.
I cannot wait to see what that blossoms into.
You can go in there and you can donate.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go to the homepage, it's right there. It says Soldiers Alliance Foundation.
Yeah, if the story didn't hit you.
Yeah, if this story don't hit you, go buy her book. This is the first gen.
Absolutely, Daddy, you're right. She is
Marcus,
showing her bravery.
You are correct. She is showing her bravery. This is the first edition. She said she didn't really like the book cover, but Sacrifice, a Gold Star's Widow, Fight for the Truth, Michelle Black.
Well, you can pull up the other cover.
And then the other.
It showed it on the site.
Let's go back here.
Right.
Let's share screen.
I'll show you what the other one. So pick your cover. Just go order the book. I think one's paperback and one's a hardcover.
Yeah, so let's go.
I think that one's a paperback with the new cover on it that she likes.
So this is the one that she likes right here. The Green Berets, A Faithful Ambush, and a Gold Star's Widow's Fight for the Truth. I will tell you right now, it's a hard read. Very, very hard read. You can, go to her website, which is michelleblacksacrifice.com, and you can order the book. I'm pretty sure you can order the book on her website, or it might be linked. Let's see. Oh yeah, the book. Let's see.
I know it's on Amazon.
So you can get it at So you can get it at Penguin Random House, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, BAM Books a Million, HudsonBookseller.com, or Powell's City of Books. So you can go in there and click on the links. They're hyperlinks. They'll take you to any one of those. But definitely go on there, and if you're a book reader, if you love to read books, this book is, I'm telling you, it's an easy read but hard read.
And I can't remember on Amazon if you can actually get it like on your Kindle too.
You might be able to. And Marcus, you are correct, sir. She's definitely, with her passion, showing bravery to not just sit and wallow in her grief. She's actually, continuing the mission that her husband signed up for. But she's just altered her path, and she's doing it to help support the families of the fallen, which is amazing. Because
such a beautiful thing.
Because what a lot of people don't realize is the families serve too. If you're active duty in the military and you have families at home, they serve just as well.
And the unfortunate part is what happens. They get a knock on their door.
Yeah.
And then they're left to handle it on their own. Where's their support? They need that. And you would think paying the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
That should be taken care of.
Yeah. Honestly, if any veteran should be taken care of, but the ones that really need to be taken care of are the families of the fallen. They paid the ultimate sacrifice, and their families have paid the ultimate sacrifice as well. Because husband's not coming home, wife's not coming home, daddy or mama's not coming home. The family, unfortunately, there's a lot of parents that outlive their children because they paid the ultimate sacrifice. And those people, the moms, the dads, the wives, the husbands of the fallen, the children of the fallen should be taken care of.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So, but we need to go ahead and pay the bills real quick. I know I have been doing it at the beginning of the episodes, but if you're in the music business, check out talenttalents.com. Chris Hawks is amazing. What he does for bands, venues, he puts on shows, veteran shows. He does it for free. He don't charge anybody for doing what he does. Then you got Louisville Local Entertainment, which is Rick Ames, who is a Navy/Marine Corps veteran. He primarily focuses on the Louisville area. We got our 3rd annual veteran and first responder suicide awareness concert coming up that he started after he lost his best friend to the demons. So this is our 3rd annual. It's coming up in November. We also got your 6 same flag, same oath.com, which we have a co-branded shirt. Let's see. We have a co-branded shirt. Let's see if I can copy from here. So yeah, right here, same flag, same oath.com /products/marine it down. That's our co-branded shirt at HomeFront Sitrep with Got Your 6 Culture. If you go on there and you order that shirt at the end of the year, we will get a 25% royalty check of all the shirts sold. And what we're going to do, Candace and I have talked about it, we're going to take that 25%. We're going to take all these different veteran service organizations from around Kentucky, whether it be Kentucky Wounded Heroes, Dogs Helping Heroes, Camp Hero, Relief for Heroes, you name it. There's all kinds of them here. We're going to put them on a randomizer and spin a wheel, and whoever it lands on, that's where that money's going to go. So go to sameflagsameoath.com, click on the co-branded, order your shirt, and then once you get the shirt in the mail, take a picture, send it to me at homefrontsitrep@gmail.com. Matt and Becky are amazing. And then
post it on the page.
Post it on the public page, the HomeFront Sitrep podcast page. And then if you're in the home market to buy a home, Veteran Mortgage Solutions, they're amazing. It's an all veteran team. If you want to get involved, if you're a realtor and you want to get involved with Veteran Mortgage Solutions, definitely reach out to these guys. Mac Verdi is amazing. So let's play the video.
Owner of Talents here, and I just want to say that we are ecstatic to be a major sponsor of HomeFront Sitrep, a community that is ran by veterans and made for veterans. So thank you for tuning in. Talents was formed in order to create a music scene that was together in the form of a collective, so that no one has to do everything on their own. And guess what? We've been doing this for free for over a year. So please go and check out Talents through Facebook or through our official website at www.talenttalents.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you again for tuning in to HomeFront Sitrep, a veteran-owned and operated podcast just for you.
My name's Rick Ames. I own Louisville Local Entertainment, a company for music shows, promotions, and bookings in the Louisville music scene. As a veteran, it's my honor to support and sponsor local veteran-owned businesses such as HomeFront Sitrep, made by veterans for veterans. So if you're in the music business and need some help booking or promoting a show for free, look me up, Louisville Local Entertainment. And thanks for tuning in to HomeFront Sitrep.
Gear up in style wearing Got Your 6 apparel. Every purchase makes a difference. It's more than just clothing, it's a statement of gratitude. Upgrade without breaking the bank. Discover cost-effective, high-quality clothing made in the USA. Each shirt is handcrafted by our team in the great state of Texas and shipped for free to your front door. Got Your Six is where quality meets purpose. We're a small veteran-owned business that takes pride in the mission and the value of our products. Join us in growing a community, supporting our heroes, veterans, and first responders by wearing a custom design.
I thought you'd never ask.
Visit sameflagsameoath.com and use the code TRIPLETHREAT for 10% off. Follow us on all social media platforms for any upcoming releases or events, and you can reach out to us with questions anytime. We are here to support our brothers and sisters.
Hey guys, Mac Verdi here with Veteran Mortgage Solutions. As rates are dropping, home values are going to start to go up. It's time to start looking if you're looking to purchase a home. That being said, we are an all-military veteran loan officer team. We know the ins and outs of the VA home loan. We are considered the experts in this field. Give us a call today. Go to our website, veteranmortgagesolutions.com. Fill out my quick form. I'll give you $500 off for closing costs. Have a great day.
And we're back.
We're still drying our eyes over here.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking about that during that whole video, like,
yeah,
Mr. Tough Guy over here.
Man, I tell you, it's one of those stories, man. It's just like holy hell. Yeah, but no, we were talking about things that we got upcoming. So July 24th through the 30th. We will have the Vietnam Traveling Wall with Cost of Freedom tribute coming to Shepherdsville, Kentucky. That there is going to be amazing. I've seen the wall in DC, and
talk about another humbling experience.
Yeah, it very much is.
But that's what I think today with Michelle. Like that was humbling.
Yes, yeah, I would agree. Man, I tell you, it is one of those things. It's just like
that's the roughest one we've done.
It was, and I was trying to tiptoe. Like I said, I was trying to tiptoe around. I didn't want to go too deep, but I wanted to go deep enough because it's one of those things that's like.
But the book goes deeper.
Yes, the book does go deeper.
It's also necessary conversation. These are things that you should be able to talk about and people should hear about. Like it's reality.
Yeah.
It's not the things that are just behind closed doors anymore. Like this is reality in people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only losing somebody, but them being lied to and then having to fight it. Like
yeah. I mean, there's her websites there. MichelleBlackSacrifice.com, www.soldiersalliance.com. And there's her husband and her two boys there. I mean, oh God. I can only fathom what
I don't ever want to understand it.
I don't either. I don't either. But I'm going to support her mission and doing. For one, we've talked about it numerous times about changing things in DC to help veterans and the families of the fallen. So I'm going to support her mission there. And then, she's wanting service dogs or emotional support animals for the children of fallen, of Gold Star families. And I guess it don't have to be just children. It could be the mom or the dad or to her or the children. She said she got the dog for her children though.
Yeah, but it's been
but it's for her too. I mean, honestly, it's going to be. There's nothing like the love of a canine because their love is unconditional.
It is.
I wish, my two dogs were, they would sit still long enough to have them down here because.
Let them love on you.
They do. They love on me.
But you don't let them.
Yes, I do.
You push them down.
No, just Willow because she doesn't know any personal space. She's like
because she loves you.
She'll sit on your face, bro. And then Waylon, he tries, but I ain't even gonna go into that. Ratman just jumped on. What's up,
So did my
Ratman?
Dawn. Hi,
Don
Ratman
Schofield,
and Dawn.
Simplify, Mr. Schofield.
I don't know. You know, everybody always says, "What do we need to do?" And that's what we need to do. We need to start looking at things like what Michelle's putting out on her Instagram and her website, and you know, it's taking those steps and going. This is where we need to change things, and that starts in the government, and that starts, you know, from back home. And it's not just the fallen; it's those that are still in too. So look at those laws that they're trying to pass, and what is it that we all need to, as a team, either block or support? You know,
you're moving, Ratman. Where are you moving? Where are you moving to, Ratman? But no, I agree. It's you know, we have to. We talked about it on like Tip of the Spear. We've talked about it on Homefront Sitrep. We have to start a movement.
But we are the change.
And you know, a lot of people are so like, well, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to change. But if you get enough veterans and enough veteran supporters out there lobbying,
bring Harley,
or not
where?
even.
He said, my daddy said you can bring Harley. Bring him where? What?
But you
what
can.
Are you talking about, Ratman? Sorry.
No, you're good. But you can get enough people together, and the stronger we are, the more we have, the stronger we are. And we can change things in DC, and we can change things within the VA. We just have to get together and have somebody represent us, that platform, that voice. And I think that's what we need.
For those people that always say like, I don't know what I can do. You don't have the things to donate. You don't have the funds to donate.
You just need to be a voice.
You don't have the time to involve yourself into an organization. Put your voice out there.
Yeah, put your voice out there. Yeah. And so tomorrow, you know, at 7 p.m., let's see. Let's bring up this.
Oh, Harley on the show.
Oh, bring Harley on the show.
Oh, my goodness.
So tomorrow, we're going to have Operation Healing Heroes and Take a Vet Fishing. We're going to have Mr. Mark Richardson on tomorrow. They actually have a TV show on Discovery and Discovery Go called Operation Healing Heroes. They take veterans out fishing and stuff like that.
I couldn't find it on Discovery Go. Remember?
I told you it was on there. I saw it. You just didn't look in the right spot.
That was on Discovery Go, and I searched it specifically.
But it's I don't know. It's Operation Healing Heroes.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
We'll have to Google it. But yeah, we'll have them on tomorrow. We'll have Mark Richardson on from there.
It should be fun.
It's going to be really fun because I'm going to find some videos from the website. Let's see. Let's see. Let's bring up their website. Let's remove this. Add. Share screen. Share the screen, man. So this is Operation Healing Heroes show and podcast. Let's see.
They have like 7 seasons.
Yeah, there's 7 seasons. So basically, they say we preserve history by documenting and honoring the lives of our U.S. military heroes, one story at a time. Then you can go in and you could nominate a vet if you want them to go on their show. They have some cool boats there, man. They're sponsored with their sponsors, and you can check out some of their impact by numbers.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So they make the show really about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the show's about documenting on that show. Laugh out loud.
Oh, Daddy's talking about bringing Harley on the show.
Oh, on the show. So it shows you here 50 plus veterans' lives documented in our TV show since 2015. You can check it out here. 100 plus veterans have been treated for PTS, 100% paid for by Operation Outdoor Freedom Foundation and Take a Vet Fishing NFP since 2019. 900 plus veterans treated at outdoor experiences 100% free of charge by Operation Outdoor Freedom Foundation and Take a Vet Fishing.
We were just talking about this.
what?
Next one.
500 plus children of fallen soldiers have been taken fishing in partnership with Take a Vet Fishing NFP since 2015. Um,
Lately, I'm really loving seeing the children involved.
And then here's
I'm
some
loving it.
here's some testimonials. I still carry the bullet in my head today.
Oh boy.
2-time combat vet and Purple Heart recipient. When on my first deployment, I was shot in the head. I still carry the bullet in my head today. I re-enlisted after a few facial reconstruction surgeries and went back on another deployment. In 2012, the Army had to kick me out for medical retirement reasons. I am disabled, but I can travel with ease. In 2018, I lost my house to a fire and lost everything. I need a break in life. I need this, please. So yeah, we're going to have them on. Hey, Carol Lee. I almost said Cora Lee. But Carol Lee, how are you, dear? But yeah, so Operation Take a Vet Fishing, and then Operation Healing Heroes. We'll have them on tomorrow. All
right, man.
All right, Candace will reach. Candace
where
will
are you
reach
going
out.
in Indiana?
Candace will reach out to you, Rat Man. Where are you going in Indiana? Well, Carol Lee, that's nice to hear that you're doing great. Carol Lee, if you want, I just had Michelle Black on. She's the wife of Staff Sergeant Brian Black, who paid the ultimate sacrifice. We just had her on. Whew, really,
a couple boxes of tissues.
Really deep. Let me tell you. Oh my Lord. But yeah, so we got Operation Healing Heroes and Take a Vet Fishing coming on tomorrow. I'm super excited about that. And man,
oh, cool beans, right, man.
It's just been one of those beautiful days. Today, this weekend's been amazing.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, I've completely overfilled my cup and heart this weekend, and then not that this dampened that in any way, just the humbling.
Yeah, it was very
humbling me down of, and it takes me back. Like I said, I was around my family all weekend. The most special, important people, all in one place at one time. I couldn't have dreamed anything better. And something like this, and listening to this.
Well, thank
woman,
you, Rat Man. It's always a good day to see you.
How much more you have to appreciate that and value every moment that you have with your children, with your loved ones, with your parents. Like, value it.
Yeah,
it means so much.
And tomorrow's never promised.
No,
unfortunately, my family had to learn that the hard way. My Aunt Kathy was driving home from work. And she fell asleep at the wheel, and when she did, she crossed over and hit a dump truck head on, and she didn't have her seatbelt on, and needless to say, she was no longer with us afterwards. So tomorrow's never promised. So love your loved ones extra every day. And if you are a veteran and you're dealing with crisis, or thinking about doing something crazy, 988*1. Reach out to 988*1. Reach out to a brother. Reach out to a sister. Reach out to somebody. Just talk to somebody. You have to get out there because 22 a day is too many. One a day is too many. So check on your brothers, check on your sisters, check on your best friend, check on your neighbor, because you never know what people are going through, and don't be rude to people. That's one thing that really irks me is when people are rude to people for no reason. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows what Candace is going through. Nobody knows what Ratman's going through. Nobody knows what Carol Lee's going through, or Marcus. You just have to be kind to people. You can't be rude to everybody that you meet.
There's no reason for it. We need more kindness in the world right now.
Yeah, and I my daughters, they're typical teenagers. They like to fight with each other, and I'm like, why do that? It just don't make no sense to me.
It doesn't, but they're sisters.
I know.
But sometimes it's like, if you can't be nice, just at least smile at somebody.
Yeah.
Because that can mean a world of difference.
And then you have to do this right here. Let's see. You have to do this right here. You have to ask that next hard question, folks. You have to ask the next hard question.
Yep.
You can go up to somebody and say, hey, Candace, how you doing?
I'm good.
How are you really doing, Candace?
I won't talk about it.
She don't really want to talk about it, but that's where you gotta push, because you never know. Candace might want to leave my house later and start a 9mm. Can't let that happen.
Morbid. God.
You can't let that happen, folks. Listening.
God. Willis.
Listening to people's story, and these ones, the stories out there where they try to commit suicide, and the belt broke, or the bullet just didn't hit the right target. And
the sad thing is as you said, each one of those, I had people flashing through my head that I know that happened, or I'm thankful that happened, that it didn't work.
Yeah. And because whatever reason they try to commit suicide and take their life, and the good Lord upstairs, he decided it wasn't their time.
No.
It wasn't.
Not
he
today.
wasn't done with them. Those stories, how they pick themselves up afterwards, and what they do, their mission afterwards. It's all inspiring. And I've never had the thought of ending my life, never. And I feel very strongly that that's something that I would never ever do, just because it's just not in my nature to do that. Because
that's good, because I kill you first.
Because I'm eliminating the problem for myself, but then I would put the problems on my wife, my mom, my 2 children, and the people that love me. I would just push my problems off on them, and it might solve your problems, but that's
those problems don't go away.
But they don't go away. Yeah, you're right. And if you're out there, if you're a veteran, if you're just a human, and you're thinking about committing suicide because your life is struggling at the present moment in time, well, I will tell you this: it's going to get better. All right, Rat Man.
Good luck, Rat Man. We love you.
We love you, brother.
I'll get a hold of you soon.
Candace will call you soon, Rat Man. But no, like my buddy Scott says, wake up tomorrow, because somebody wants you there. Somebody needs to see you tomorrow. So definitely wake up tomorrow, because you are important. You are very, very important to the people around you. You are enough. Look in a mirror and say, hey, I'm enough. I mean, because you are. And then, here.
And lately I've been sticking stickers on my mirrors. I got one on the rear view in my car. I've got one at the house. And it's like, I need it to give myself that inspiration, because we all go through things, and not everybody knows that. It doesn't matter if you know what somebody's going through. Just freaking be nice.
And then our buddy Kyle at Project Zero out in Texas, one of his favorite hashtags is #Get Out There. Get out there and tell your story. Don't be holed up in your house and not tell people what you're going through.
Or even just take that step outside.
Yeah.
Just get out.
Just get out. Just get out there. And I will tell you, outdoor therapy, music therapy, they work, people. Equine therapy works. You have to get out there, and you have to get involved. Find a grassroots organization that's close by you. Get involved and tell your story, because I will tell you right now, don't be macho. Don't be that headstrong, stubborn son of a gun that won't tell their story. I tell my story. Quit looking at me.
Start and win.
I have told my story.
Start and win.
Numerous times.
Start and win.
A couple years back.
No. Thank you.
But it does get easier. I promise you.
And you don't have to go out there and just start by telling your story. Like, Just start by getting out there and talk to somebody. You'll find somebody that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you know what? Try the next one.
Go
but
find.
Don't ever be afraid to go somewhere and then feel bad because it doesn't work out. It's okay.
He told his story.
Well, Carol Lee, he just started doing it, and he's been out for this old man's been out for a while. What, 20 years now?
Yeah. 20 years.
So don't be macho, Marine.
No. You know, and I'm the dumb one. I'll tell you that straight up. I was the dumb one because I always said that other people
deserved it.
Well, deserved it. Yeah.
Very true, Carol Lee. I'm proud of
Granted, the shit that I went through. Granted, the shit that I went through is it. I just don't talk about it.
Right.
I'll talk about. I still don't talk about all of it.
Of course
I'll
not.
talk about a lot of it, but I won't talk about all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I just.
And that's okay. But you started. You know what? You got out there.
Yeah, I did get out there, and I did, and you know, all these veteran service organizations out there need to learn to work together because we're stronger together. If you haven't been to the VA, I suggest it. You need to go to the VA. I'm going over to the Roll Call Foundation on Tuesday, matter of fact.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to go over there and get some stuff lined out for my disability side of it, my rating side of it. Roll Call Foundation, they do amazing things. If you haven't checked out to them, if you haven't checked out Roll Call Foundation, you need to look up the Roll Call Foundation.
Yeah.
You're right, Carol Lee. I do talk about it a lot more now than I used to. It is a process. And I'll be the first to be honest with you. Me talking about it, me doing this podcast.
These got a lot lighter, didn't they?
Yes, my shoulders, have got a lot lighter, and it makes it easier. It doesn't eliminate, but it does make it easier to do things that I enjoy, or that I used to enjoy that stopped enjoying for a really long time, and so yeah, just get out there and talk. Get out there and talk about it, man. It's just what you got to do, man.
And it's different for everybody. It really is.
It is. It is. I should change this to one human at a time, but I'm still kind of partial to one veteran at a time.
It's all right. Well, see, you know what? You got to start with one human. We've always tend to pick veterans first.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's still one human.
Yeah, one human, one veteran at a time. So, like I said, tomorrow we got Operation Healing Heroes, Take a Vet Fishing. I'm super excited about that. Mr. Mark Richardson, I think he's in Virginia. He's on a little trip he took to Virginia. He's coming up tomorrow.
I want to take a little trip.
I do too. I want to take a little trip.
I am in May.
And then on the 21st, we got Warriors of Racing. Ed McLean, who's an Air Force veteran, he's going to come on and talk about his all-veteran racing team. Super, super excited about that. And then on the 22nd, we got American Legion Post 291 out of Newport Beach, California. They have their 100th anniversary coming up. Now, what's super cool about this American Legion? It's the only one with a yacht club. Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah, but could any of us ever go to a yacht club?
No, I'm not hippie enough for that. I couldn't
afford a yacht club anyways. Aren't they expensive?
And then on the 28th, we're supposed to have Chris Cruz with Cruz Custom Flags that makes that bourbon barrel flag right there behind my head. I haven't verified yet with him. And then to round out the month, April the 29th, we got Realtor Army veteran Jeremy Kuntz coming up. And then we got the tip of the spear, which Miss Carol Lee with Conversations with the Vet.
So those of you that watch that, you got 10 days left to make sure, because there was homework given. There was homework given on the last tip of the spear.
Yeah, if you watched that episode, we gave homework out on the last tip of the spear.
You got a veteran.
What's up, Mr. Raymond?
Or first responder. So, because we all know somebody, whether it's family, it's friends, or some type of connection. Reach out, check on them,
and then
just ask them how they're doing.
We're going to keep it positive, man.
Absolutely.
I don't mind a little bit of heated debate, but it's got to stay positive. And what I mean by that is don't be knocking organizations. Don't be knocking things that are out there helping veterans. Yeah, you can have a bad experience and say, hey, I had a bad experience, but you need to make sure, because overall, whatever the organization might be, unless it's just a shit organization.
You're all kinds of calling me out.
I'm not calling you out, bro.
A little bit. I got yelled at.
No, Chris, you're good, brother. You're good. But like I said, go get Michelle's book,
Yes.
Sacrifice. It's a hard read, but a great read. Definitely check them out. Check this book out. Go check out her Soldiers Alliance Foundation. So soldiersalliance.com. Or you can go to her book, michelleblacksacrifice.com. Definitely go check them out. We got some great episodes coming up in May. We got some great episodes coming up in June. We're already booking into July.
Yep.
Yeah, we're already booking into July. So yeah, it's a great great thing to have. I'm getting ready to get interviewed on Oscar Mike Radio, which is a Marine Corps veteran, Travis. What's his last name? Travis something. But he's so he runs Oscar Mike Radio. I'm gonna have him on my show. I just got to send him some dates, I think, or I might have already scheduled it. Hell, I don't know. But we're gonna have Travis on our show. I'm gonna be on his show. Now, my show won't air until July or August, because that's how. So he does all his shows are pre-recorded, and then he releases them as it goes, and he's already pre-recorded until July. July or August.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it's a great thing to have, and
yeah.
So we're gonna talk about my military career, my transition out, what led me to doing podcasts and stuff like that, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, about a little bit about anything really, but we got some hot topics we're gonna talk about. Since we focus on veteran service organizations, we're gonna talk about our experience in good VSOs and bad VSOs. So we're going to talk about those and stuff like that. So
sorry, I got distracted. My daughter's calling me, and they never told me they got home. So
oh no, you're good. So it's going to be really good with Travis, and then working on bringing in some more people into the fold of the Veterans Roundtable. And then I want to share this too, because I don't talk about it very much, but HomeFront Sitrep is there we go, a proud member of, let's share the screen here. Why didn't it go? There we go. It's loading. Heroes Media Group. So HomeFront Sitrep, if you go to heroesmediagroup.com, click on podcast, and if you scroll down, HomeFront Sitrep is right there. Patriots Inside the Wire, Everman's Odyssey, Feed the People, the John Mayo podcast, Beyond the Rut, the Joe Evans Show, my buddy Rich LaMonica at the Misfit Nation, the Hero Academy, Label Free podcast, Time to Shine Today with Scott Ferguson, Pushing Back Chaos, Because Bikers Matters, Environmentally Speaking, The Other Side of the Firewall, MCEC podcast, The Arms Room Show, The Decision Hour, which is Mr. Adam Bird, Miss Shay Sparks with her podcast, the Shay Sparks podcast, Chasing Happiness, the People's Patriot Project, Warriors GMR Headquarter podcast. There's a ton of podcasts on here, man. the Heroes Media Group is amazing, what they do for veterans and stuff like that. Let's go over here to services, and this is just some of the services that they offer for podcasters: transcription services, podcast promotion, HMG audio player, network listing, digital marketing, social media, content marketing, SEO, web development, etc. Advertising, banner ads available on HMG website, publishing services, book publishing. So if you're a veteran and you wrote a book, they will help you get your book published. So yeah, man, I tell you what, HMG is amazing. Mr. Adam Bird, what he's got going on there is awesome. So if you're a veteran podcaster or a podcaster and you want to get in the HMG network, reach out to me and I'll get you connected with Adam Bird. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, reach out to me at homefrontsitrep@gmail.com. I will help you get started and give you some information on how I got started. So yeah, reach out to us, man. But other than that, my friends, it's been a great Sunday. Thank you guys for coming on here and hanging out with us. We do what we do because it helps us and we're being selfish. And then in turn, we're helping you guys. But like Candace and I always say, stay safe out there.
We got your
six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.